start by yourself and telling us a little bit about your background?
I changed careers a few times. I used to be an occupational therapist, and I worked with kids in school settings for about 6 years, and then I felt like something was missing in that job, and I found another path in UX research. I was interested in UX research because I felt like there were a lot of similarities between OT and UX research because it was very like person-centered, and I think during that time like UX was the rage during that period with the pandemic and everyone was trying to work remotely. And I ended up taking a boot camp to get a UX design certificate, and that's where I learned about UX research. I was drawn to UX research more for the money and like familiarity with connection to occupational therapy, but I wasn't really sure if it was something I really wanted to do. But I decided to like go ahead and jump into it because I wouldn't know until I actually tried out. A few months into it, I was still unsure if UX research was the right path. And at the same time, I was feeling a lot of imposter syndrome and wanted to improve as a UX researcher. So I happened to find Kieu's post on LinkedIn. I felt connected to her because she was Asian and she was also a UXR manager. So I reached out to her in hopes of getting some coaching on becoming a better UX researcher. And as we were doing the call, I also mentioned that I'm not really sure if UX research is the right path for me. And then that discussion quickly pivoted from like trying to become a better UX researcher to just trying to figure out what I want to do. So now I'm here trying to make another path or take another path in coaching. And yeah, she's been really helpful in just helping me become more confident in my decision in becoming a coach, and then helping me organize like the steps that I need to take to actually launch my business as a coach.
What challenges do you feel like you were facing before working with Kieu?
Having confidence in myself, whether it was like as a UX researcher, or I guess the main challenge was not knowing what I was passionate about, or like there was anything I could do outside of UX research. Yeah, it's the biggest thing that I had to work on initially was understanding like what my values were, or what my core values were, and then from there trying to figure out what my hobbies and interests were, because before then I boxed myself into the typical 9-to-5, like what's the most common way to make a living.
How did Kieu help you dial in on what your values were and what your true path was?
In terms of my values, I remember just going over different values, like, and just seeing what resonated with me the most. And I think there was a lot of trial and error for me because I have this perfectionist side, so I want to be able to do everything. So it was hard for me to just narrow down to 5 and then 3. But then once I was able to identify those 3, reflecting back on it, like I feel like those 3 core values are still true, and whatever decisions I make are based on those core values that we went over initially. And then in terms of finding what I was interested in or what I was passionate about, I realized I already knew what it was. I thought it would take a very long time to identify what my path would be, but it like came to me really quickly, just like thinking about what I like to do, and yoga was the only thing I could identify at that point. And like that was around the time when I decided to take the yoga teacher training. That was like maybe 1 or 2 months after just establishing that I like doing yoga, and that made me something that I want to do. She was really helpful in helping me really focus. She asked the right questions for me to come down to what I want to do.
What was it about Kieu that stood out to you, and what made you want to invest in working with her opposed to working with any other coach?
For me, it's really important to be able to connect with my coach. Like, I want some sort of understanding what my experiences are. And because she was Asian and her being female and having like corporate ladder, our experience would really be helpful in almost like a mentor and like explain what her experience has been like and how I could learn from those experiences. So that was like the main reason why I had reached out to her. And after talking to her initially, I really appreciated the fact that she was able to pick out that I wasn't really interested in UX research and that she was really able to see that I was interested in something totally different. She was really clear in terms of how we would tackle the problem. I think for me, I need to see how things are laid out first before making a decision. And she really gave me a clear step-by-step of how we would approach figuring out what I like to do. And I felt like this issue of not knowing what to do was so nebulous. Like, I didn't have faith in myself that I would be able to find what I wanted to do, because my whole life I didn't know what. I was like, can I truly find that one thing? And now I know it doesn't have to be that one thing. I know there are many things. I was excited about the possibility of change and just breaking out of the typical mold that I was used to.
Do you remember having any like resistance or fear around investing in coaching with?
I think naturally, if any investment is involved, I have a very quick reaction to, money. But I don't think that lasted so long because I knew it was me investing in myself to be a better version of myself. And I think just having that call with her was reassuring that this is what I needed. So I can't say that I had any fear or had any doubts about Kieu as a coach. I think I had doubt in myself of whether I could make it happen.
How did Kieu help you overcome that doubt in yourself?
Definitely by identifying how critical I was of myself, and by identifying those like self-full or critical words towards myself, I was able to open myself up to more possibilities. Basically, every thought I had, it was like critical, and I thought it was good because it would make me become a better person. Like, it was a way for me to improve. But then I realized it didn't really help. And I remember her saying, like, always ask, is it true? And I realized, oh, it's not true. Like, all those criticisms weren't true. And it just made me realize throughout the day how many times I criticized myself. And that really helped me to become, I don't want to say I'm 100% confident, but at least more hopeful that I can be more aligned with my values and live the life that I want to live. I think I built my way up slowly to where I am now because I didn't think that having a coaching business could be a possibility. And I think the biggest surprise is me believing that I could get out of this 9-to-5 hamster wheel. Yeah, because my whole life I thought that was the only way to make a living, and I always thought that like no one likes their job. Like, that was my mentality. And now, within the past month, I feel very motivated to actually get my business up and running. Like, for this moment, I was just taking baby steps because I was afraid of the risks of like potentially failing. And now I'm okay with that. I just want to try it out and see where it goes. Yeah, and I still am scared, but the fact that I'm committed and I want to like push until the end, it's pretty surprising for me, considering I want to feel safe and I want things to be stable.
So what advice would you give to somebody, Joanne, who is considering working with Kieu?
I'm usually very fearful when I don't know what to expect, but I think that's all part of the process, not knowing. And Kieu is obviously there along the way. She asks really helpful and clarifying questions that I like. Each session I learn more, not only to expand or continue to build my business, so I learn more about myself. Yeah, so I think it's just taking that leap of faith, and then once you do, you're able to open up the new possibilities.
What would you say has been your biggest takeaways or successes from working with Kieu?
In terms of biggest success or takeaway is being okay with failure. Just going back to me being very risk averse, that would just immobilize me from moving forward, like that fear of failing. And I would do all these other things to prevent failures. I would try to learn different skills, trying to perfect myself before taking that leap. And for me, my biggest success is being able to get over that fear of failure and getting over, I'm not like 100% over my perfectionist side, or the fact that I'm still like moving the needle forward rather than being stuck and just like letting ideas just happen in my head without manifesting.
And what are you the most excited about right now?
I'm very excited about coaching business. Before, it felt like I was moving forward, but I actually wasn't. I was taking surface level actions, but it didn't really amount to anything. And I think I was afraid to actually commit to the coaching business. But now, I just feel really excited that I have this new energy in me where I feel really motivated, and I know that there's going to be some growing pains, but I'm very excited that I'm trying something new, and it's actually something I like, because all the other career paths that I've had before, it was just out of necessity or practicality, and this is very different because it's a reflection of who I am. Like a mix of yoga, nidra, somatic healing, EFT tapping, and I'm not sure, but maybe perhaps Reiki. But yeah, just like bringing all the skills that I've learned the past couple of years and just letting it play out. I'm really excited about that. All the questions makes me realize how far I've come from day one with Kieu up until now. As I speak now, I realize I've made a ton of progress from just taking it